Hi! Did you know that according to data from HubSpot on over 100 companies, that salespeople sent out 151% more emails since the pandemic started and got a 38% lower response rate? I know. What makes this even more crippling is the fact that salespeople, 31% of them are still struggling to prospect, whether it's by email or by phone. Worse still is that 75% of those salespeople are also struggling to use social media to prospect, at least according to the sales assessment data from Objective Management Group. As a sales leader or a business owner, have you really thought about how that is going to increase your cost of sale and your customer acquisition costs? It's going to break the bank. Nearly all of us, salespeople, managers, business owners, entrepreneurs, have to admit that prospecting is necessary. We know it, and we know that we should do more of it. So why do we put it off? There's a couple of reasons for that. First, we put things off because of our own present bias. This is the desire to satisfy our immediate needs and worry about tomorrow. It's why we don't save enough or take better care of ourselves. One way that you can reduce your own present bias, have reminders of all of your personally meaningful goals around you. And no, I don't mean your quota. What I mean is your future state of your own personal success. So whether that is a family trip that you want to enjoy and take on your family and create some memories, or the pride and recognition of being the best at something, or like me, maybe it's some new home renovations. The point is you want to keep those physical and mental reminders of that future state all around you to help you overcome that present bias of the here and now. Now, another big reason we set aside a specific task or procrastinate is so that we can push away the unwanted feelings that task brings up. Prospecting can feel a lot like dating, full of fear of rejection, the pressure to make that first good impression, and, the uncertainty that the right person is even out there. As business owners and sellers, this intimidation can make us avoid it and just, wait for people to come to us. There are very few people who don't have call reluctance. Who really likes getting hung up on? I've coached a lot of business development and sales development reps in the last few years, and that's their job all day long. Cold calling, getting hung up on, being called a lot of explicit words, generally feeling like a horrible human being. But I can also tell you that their world didn't end. Their dogs still love them, and there's someone out there who needs their help, and they know it, even if that person doesn't know it yet. You see, when we don't take into account that the task that we're about to do might be uncomfortable, and that it is, it's a lot easier for us to put it off or quit altogether. We tend to overestimate our willpower that we have to make things happen, no matter how big the obstacle is, even our own discomfort. Here's the thing with procrastination, is that those negative emotions that we have towards the task don't go away when we avoid it. In fact, those emotions tend to feed themselves and grow even faster. Let's say you put off prospecting. We do it all from time to time. You want to get it right, though. You are worried maybe that you're going to turn people off. Then, of course, the more that you delay, the less time that you have to actually do it. And then as the end of the month starts to approach, you don't just doubt your ability to prospect, but you also start to feel overwhelmed by the amount of work that you now have to do. And where do you even start? You're stressed at the thought of not getting it done in time. You know you've created this situation for yourself, but we tend to care more about the temporary relief and peace of mind that we get by avoiding the task of prospecting. It's this fleeting peace that generally reinforces our procrastination loops. But do you actually feel better? Probably not. You're likely like me, and you've noticed this undercurrent of anxiety that ripples through all of your waking moments and maybe even your sleeping ones. I know when I've been procrastinating too much because I get this recurring anxiety dream. You've probably had something similar where you're the only person in the restaurant full of hungry, angry people, and you have to cook, bartend, and serve all at the same time. Therein lies the rub. Procrastination is like a bad drug that's difficult to escape. The temporary reward of putting something off reinforces your desire to do it again and again and again, even though it ends up creating even more problems for you later. So to break this cycle, stop beating yourself up over the fact that you pushed it off to begin with. And accept the fact that you're probably going to have some uncomfortableness in the task that you're about to do. You're probably going to say the wrong thing. You're probably going to stumble over your words, and it's going to be messy. And that's okay. Which brings me to the last thing that causes us to procrastinate prospecting, and that is our own perfectionism.
Hi, my name is Carol, and I'm a perfectionist.
At least according to nearly everybody around me. I think I'm detail-oriented and constantly looking for new ways to improve. Good enough is never enough. Perfectionism is a sneaky little bugger, let me tell you. It whispers in our ear about, it has to be really good, or it's not going to work. It tells us that if we just slow things down, do it right, it'll all be worth it. It compares our failures to someone else's successes and says, see, you ain't good enough yet. What makes you think you can do that? You better get it right before you make a fool of yourself. I know those voices a little too well. I've allowed them to get in my own way of finishing my damn book for the last 5 years now. So to put your perfectionism in its proper place and prevent procrastinating your prospecting, say that 3 times fast, try one of these few daily strategies. First, stop the comparison game. Whether it's on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or TV ads, even your neighbors and friends and family, stop looking at their accomplishments as something that you could be or should be doing. Their path isn't your path. Their goals are not your goals. And no one ever won a race by looking sideways. In fact, you're probably more likely to lose because you ran into a tree. Every time I would read a book on sales that I liked, I would think, I need to do the same thing, or better. I would compare my book to theirs, and as a result, never finished mine because whatever progress I had made wasn't good enough. Comparison is a killer. Stop it. Just stop it. The second thing, try to be kind to yourself. Meaning, tell that voice in your head to start changing its tune. Find the bright spots in the work that you've done, the places that things went well, and then embrace the things that are imperfect because, well, those are the things that make you, you. If you were perfect, how bored and boring would you be? Learning to do something new that really stretches you, like writing a book, is likely to manifest these voices that tell us what we're not and that what we are isn't enough. The things I would say to myself while trying to write these books are things I would never say out loud to anyone else. So why am I saying them to myself? When I recognize the thoughts as the trolls that they were, I replace them with some kinder thoughts. So be kind to yourself. Give yourself a little break. The next thing I recommend is to slow it all down. Meditating was one of those things I would never have time or patience for. Tell me again how sitting around and breathing is going to help me get things done. When did anyone ever get anything done by sitting around? It wasn't until I actually started practicing mindfulness and yoga and meditation that I started to see it's not about achieving perfection as some future state, but seeing and accepting the perfection of the state that I'm in right now. Give yourself the time and the space to be in a present moment. Now, the next thing I offer is deadlines. Give yourself a deadline. I know it seems a little counterintuitive to the previous point of slowing down, but by giving yourself a deadline on a project or a task, you must have a stopping point. You can't keep obsessing over the details for all of eternity. It'll never be perfect. You'll never have enough research done. The messaging can always be fine-tuned, but it can be good enough to start, and then allow it to evolve from there. By giving yourself a deadline, you're opening your mindset to the idea that everything is an experiment. And by doing so, not only are you keeping your perfectionism in check, you're also feeding that growth mindset. Setting a deadline with my publisher was the best thing that I could have done for myself. Otherwise, I'd still be obsessing over this latest chapter. A deadline that you have with someone else is a commitment device that you can use to limit how much time you spend obsessing over the little details. Use a deadline to your advantage. Last thing I recommend is play outside of your box. Now, this one comes straight from my therapist, who told me to read about Brené Brown's research on perfectionism. You see, what she writes that when you're in a child at play, you're not worried about getting it right or what other people think. You're just in your own little world playing to your own little tune. As adults, when we step outside of our usual boxes and play imperfectly, it actually opens our mind up to this inner child again. You know, that child that used to have fun and didn't care what other people thought. For me, that inner child wanted to take horseback riding lessons. I haven't been around horses in about 20 years, so when my son started, I thought, I'll join him. Turns out flopping around on a horse like a rag doll for a few times and laughing the whole way didn't give me a whole lot of time to worry about how I looked or how well I was doing. I was just trying to stay on the horse and stand and post at the same time while at a trot. Haven't got there yet. Don't expect that you're going to always do things perfectly. In fact, put yourself in situations where you won't be able to. I'm going to leave you with this. Don't expect you can eliminate your perfectionism and your procrastination. That would actually, in fact, just be feeding into it. Instead, expect and accept that there's going to be times when it happens. And when it does, be brave. Dig deep and don't hide from your task. You see, brave people struggle too. They just don't hide from the things they struggle with. They take them head on. And isn't that what procrastination really is? Hiding from the things that scare us? Now, according to the TV series Witcher, Season 2, you can either be too strong to fail or too weak to try. The choice is going to be yours. So which of these procrastination prevention practices will you try out? Do you have a practice that you use that helps you to prevent your procrastination? I'd love to hear it. Comment below with that. And if you found this helpful, subscribe to get updates and share it with those that are around you. And until next time, keep learning and keep sharing out there. Bye, y'all.